A girl the world forgot.
On the night of Hallows Eve, a group of friends decided to take a walk down by the old church. They were looking for a place to set off some fireworks. While walking towards the church, one friend began telling an old tale about a nearby graveyard. On the 30th of October, whoever enters the graveyard will never again leave it, one friend said while laughing. The others looked at him in disbelief and shrugged it off as a joke. He said he would give anyone money if they were able to walk to the end of the graveyard and back, without any problems. One woman turned around and smirked at him, took the money and proceeded to walk towards the entrance of the graveyard. She entered the grounds and walked around, looking at all the old headstones, unable to make out what any of them said. Suddenly, something flew over her head and whispered, "Leave." In the blink of an eye, the day turned into night. The woman became very frightened, but she continued to walk forward for a few steps. Her hands began to shake. She realized it was a bad idea being in there. She turned round and started walking fast to the entrance. While running, a hand grabbed her leg and pulled her to the ground. The woman started screaming out for help. She was kicking and screaming while more and more hands came from the ground to drag her down. Her whole body was almost covered, but she managed to keep one hand above ground a little longer looking for help. One of the friends heard the screams and ran in to help her out. He pulled her from the ground and immediately they both started running out of the graveyard. The man stopped to catch his breath and looked behind him, only to see that the woman was nowhere in sight. He was in disbelief and couldn't understand what had just happened. Suddenly the woman woke with a sigh of relief, thinking it was all just a nightmare. She tried to sit up, but ended up hitting her head off something. She looked around with confusion. She moved her hands around only to feel walls. She couldn't open what she thought was a box. She began banging on the walls, crying out for someone to help her, but no one was around. The woman kept crying out in confusion, not knowing whether she was awake or just dreaming, whether she was alive or dead. Just stuck in limbo for the rest of eternity where no one could hear her screams.